According to the Associated Press, ISIS is expanding into Afghanistan in preparation for attacks on the U.S. and the West. This follows a recent wave of attacks in Kabul.
Officials told the Associated Press that these attacks are practice runs for bigger attacks on American forces. So joining us now from Islamabad, Pakistan, is Kathy Gannon. She's a senior correspondent in Afghanistan and Pakistan for the Associated Press, and she's also the journalist behind that article. She's joining us on the phone. So let's start off with what officials told AP about what ISIS is up to in Afghanistan.
Yes. What they said is that it's expanding its footprint. It's increasing its recruits. The makeup of the Islamic State affiliate, it's an Islamic State affiliate in Afghanistan, includes Uzbeks from the Islamic movement of Uzbekistan, Tajiks, disgruntled Taliban, Iranians, Pakistanis, Bangladeshis. And what they are saying is that it's expanding its footprint, which means it's in the eastern part of the country. It's moving into other provinces, taking control of heights, from where it will become increasingly easier to plot attacks, to train recruits, to stockpile weapons. And what they're saying is that there have been spate of attacks, quite daring attacks. And what the intelligence is saying is that these are practice runs. Their goal, like the goal of all Islamic State groups and branches, is to stage attacks overseas. And if they can hit America, if they can hit Europe, this is their ultimate goal, and that's what they're working toward. And what they say is that all these attacks are practice runs, and unless there's a real strong counterterrorism push, that within a year, one official said, they would be in a position to carry out quite serious attacks.
Kathy, well then, as you know, the president has said that he wants to pull troops from the country. Could that ultimately affect, in fact, leave an opening for ISIS to expand?
Well, I think it's all tied in, of course, as you so rightly say. One of the things with the talks that's going on and what officials are saying is that there are talks with the Taliban, because the Taliban are opposed to the Islamic State. And as a counterterrorism measure, they're saying that if there is an agreement that is reached in Afghanistan that includes the Taliban in the government, that the Taliban would then be co-opted is their hope, to be part of the counterterrorism attacks or counterterrorism measures against the Islamic State. So regardless of whether the 14,000 troops leave in 6 months or in a year, I think the counterterrorism measures are probably going to be much longer and will be included in any agreement that is being negotiated.
It occurred to me that we spend an awful lot of time talking about ISIS in Syria and very little about ISIS in Afghanistan. What is the current state of ISIS in Afghanistan?
Well, this is it. You're quite right, and what they're saying is that, and including Afghan officials on the ground and villagers, is that their footprint is expanding within Afghanistan. So they're moving, like they're in one province, they're moving into another province and another province, and these provinces are have incredibly high mountains. For example, Kunar, the U.S.-led coalition and U.S. troops were forced to abandon their positions in Kunar in 2008, 2007, because of the deadly attacks that could be staged from the high mountain positions. So their locations and the areas to which they're expanding are very difficult terrain. It's very difficult terrain and very difficult to dislodge them. And that's a huge problem for counterterrorism officials and forces. And they've been staging increased airstrikes. And yet, despite the increase, and the U.S. intelligence officials say increased airstrikes have occurred, but they haven't managed to decrease their strength, and in fact they are expanding. So yeah, the territory is one huge problem.
And so, Kathy, I guess, given the fact that the U.S. is looking for a way to remove itself from Afghanistan, what are some of the allies and the partners that we have worked with in the region? Are they able to help deal with this?
Well, sure. I mean, I think the way that the U.S. has been seeking to negotiate this peace deal and subsequent withdrawal is by getting all the neighbors involved. Pakistan, Russia, China, India, to get everybody involved, the Gulf states. But the actual fight against the Islamic State is a huge regional fight, and it requires a counterterrorism strategy that goes beyond just the region. And I think that's what they're thinking in terms of their negotiating is, while the troops on the ground that are currently backing the Afghan forces are currently training, I think that they're certainly looking at a counterterrorism force that, regardless of what this agreement brings, or it will include a counterterrorism force that would likely remain, or at least direct the attack against the Islamic State in Afghanistan.
All right, Kathy Gannon, thank you so much.
You're very welcome.